All right, everybody, we've got a lot to talk about tonight because things are getting weirder, more unstable, and honestly more dangerous by the week. And I want to start with something that still sounds fake every time I say it out loud. A UFC event in front of the White House for Donald Trump's birthday. That is apparently where we are at right now. And technically, the tickets are free. But what's actually happening is donors are reportedly getting access through these massive sponsorship packages. So, once again, political influence in America is becoming this open, shameless, pay to play system where access to power is being packaged and sold to wealthy donors. And what is wild is that the White House is treating this like it's normal. But I think what we're really seeing underneath all of this is panic, real panic, because despite all the strongman imagery, despite the constant propaganda, despite the AI generated muscle photos and the Trump is stronger than ever messaging politically, he's weaker right now than he wants people to believe. But we're seeing it out there. Even Republicans are starting to show cracks. And one of the biggest examples just happened in South Carolina, where Republican lawmakers pushed back against efforts to further redistrict the state for Trump's benefit. And that matters because South Carolina is already heavily gerrymandered. And I think they're nervous, not because Democrats are suddenly surging everywhere, but because a growing number of Americans, including independents and even traditional conservatives, are deeply uncomfortable with what MAGA has become. Honestly, this is bigger than Democrats versus Republicans now. This is becoming democracy versus authoritarianism, and people are feeling it. Trump's approval numbers on the economy are collapsing. What was supposed to be his strongest issue is instead prices are climbing, instability is growing, and now we have the Iran situation making everything dramatically worse. Because let's be honest about Iran. This did not go the way Trump expected. The administration reportedly believed they could do a quick strike, flex military dominance, pressure Iran, and walk away looking powerful. Instead, the entire thing seems to have spiraled into a geopolitical disaster. Iran has maintained control, younger leadership has emerged, and now the Strait of Hormuz has become one of the most dangerous pressure points on Earth. And that matters because a massive amount of the world's oil supply moves through that region. So now gas prices are climbing, diesel prices are climbing, transportation costs are climbing. And honestly, when diesel spikes, everything gets more expensive because goods across this country move on trucks, groceries, supplies, customer goods, everything. And one thing I keep thinking about is how trapped Trump suddenly looks politically because his entire political identity is built around dominance and winning and looking invincible. And that's why the propaganda matters so much to him. That's why we're constantly seeing these bizarre hyper masculine images that are being pushed online, the shirtless AI photos, the fake Trump is younger than ever articles, the endless praise posts on Truth Social. Strongmen survive on perception. The second they look weak, the illusion starts cracking. And Iran may be the first situation where he can't simply spin his way out of it because every time he tries to declare victory publicly, Iran pushes back and says, no, uh, there's no agreement that exists, no victory. Every time he threatens escalation, negotiations collapse again. And now he's suddenly stuck between looking weak or escalating something that could become economically catastrophic. Meanwhile, here in America, another story is quietly exploding that more people need to be paying attention to: immigration detention facilities. Now, I want to give a shout out to Heather Cox Richardson. She's always breaking some of the best stories. She really does her homework. And this is something I want to dive deeper into. So, over the weekend, hundreds of detainees at a facility in New Jersey launched a hunger strike over conditions inside the center. And the allegations are horrific. People describing overcrowding, lack of medical care, families being separated, pregnant women not receiving treatment. People are saying that they're effectively being pressured into self deportation through fear and abuse. And what happened next should really terrify every American, regardless of party. So, lawmakers who attempted to oversight the facility say the conditions were real. Then protesters gathered outside, and then federal agents responded in an uncalled for way. So federal agents showed up with pepper spray and pepper balls, including reportedly spraying a United States senator. Think about how insane that sentence is. A U.S. senator being pepper sprayed by federal agents while attempting oversight of a detention facility inside of the United States of America. This isn't normal, and this is happening while billions of taxpayer dollars are being poured into private detention contracts, while ordinary Americans are really struggling financially across the board. People are exhausted, we're stressed, we're barely affording groceries and rent. And instead of addressing that pain, this administration keeps escalating cruelty, escalating militarism, escalating authoritarian behavior across the board. And at the exact same time, Republicans are starting to ramp up efforts around voting restrictions and redistricting ahead of 2026 because they understand something important. The public mood is shifting. That's why they're fighting this hard. That's why there's so much focus on controlling access to voting. There's messaging that is getting even more frantic because underneath all of this manufactured strength, things are becoming unstable very fast. And look, I know this stuff can feel overwhelming. I know it feels exhausting, but one thing I actually agree with from this is that authoritarian movements do not fight this aggressively when they feel secure. They fight this hard when they feel threatened. And that matters. It means local elections matter, state races matter, Supreme Court races matter, and voting rights and voting right battles, they matter because what happens over the next year and a half is going to shape the direction of this country for a very long time. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think below. Do you think the public is finally starting to turn against this administration? And how concerned are you about the Iran situation personally? Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.